My name is Paul Greengrass. I directed the Bourne Supremacy. It was an amazing adventure, 1 year from start to finish, with Tony Gilroy's story and inside Jason Bourne's head, really. I suppose, was to explore the next chapter in the Jason Bourne story. Film. Jason Bourne had discovered that he was a contract killer for the CIA. The story needed to deal with the consequences of that. What did Bourne do? Could he engage with life if there was blood on his hands? And so the opening of the movie is all about seeing the shards of disconnected memory, the violent pieces that made up Jason Bourne's mind, and then when he woke up, we needed to be somewhere else, somewhere very different. Not Greece, where we'd left him and Marie at the end of the first movie. Somewhere further away, somewhere further off the grid. And before I came on board the project, the decision had been taken to set it in Goa in India, which I actually thought was a brilliant idea because it was somewhere where you would imagine Jason would go and hide if he'd found that Europe was too small. You know, a year or 18 months hiding out in small villages along the Med, but sooner or later they would need to go further. So where would you go? Australia? No, not good. It was hip, it was youthful. You could imagine they would blend in. Story opens on the beach.
Anything new?
And is tormented just by fragments of memory.
I can hear
Exuberance of their relationship has gone. Maybe there's a little tiredness there. You know, the weariness of being on the run.
It's always bad, and now it's just the same.
Never being out of one place too long.
But that's why we write it down.
Trying for something better, trying for the light.
Something good.
Because that's what the Bourne story is all about. It was an idea that was around for quite a long time as we developed the story. Some physical way of showing Bourne's struggle to reclaim his memory. And it was also an interesting visual element. You could almost see on the page the confusion, the pain. Means to bring us closer to Bourne. I think that was really what the second film's all about. Bring us closer to Bourne. We cut to Berlin, which is where the story is played out. It's a spy story. An espionage set up, you know, a stakeout. An operation is in progress. The CIA are buying information. It's secret, but yet it's occurring right in front of us on the streets where we live and work. Andy, who I suppose in terms of the story replaces Conklin, Chris Cooper's character from the first movie, and Alan, because I think Chris Cooper, he's many things as an actor, but above all he's a classy actor, and I wanted a classy actor with another, and Joan Allen is certainly that. Gives the whole piece an integrity, I think, an elevation. It's Carl Urban, guy. Needed to be charismatic and immediately compelling. So that of this, you know, classic espionage operation, you would have a suddenly youthful and contemporary figure walk across the stage and grab your attention. And we did. Because we've met Jason Bourne, we've met Marie. Opportunity to see the cast of characters who are going to story.
Everything?
At this stage, the film is prepared to allow you to trail a mystery, to go far and wide in the story, really, before you start to gather the threads in further down the film. Scene to shoot this, in fact, we shot it twice. The first version of this scene we lost because we had a laboratory processing problem. Gotten sort of archness to it. So in the end, it is quite a theatrical event but it needed to feel real too. But above to know that the pressure was on Landy.
Eye contact.
What is Kirill doing? These two people, and of course, that deepens the mystery. It's to do with oil in some way. It connects with Russia too. He's placed in a little motel room next to the airport. It sort of reminded me somewhere of the motel room where all the president's men began. Just a Johnson's or, you know, not a flat hotel, just a down-at-heel motel room, a contract killer and a Russian. Some kind of plot. And we just know this is something to do with Jason Bourne. But we don't know what the connection is yet. And of course, when we come back to Goa for our second Indian chapter, you implicitly understand you're going to find out how all this mystery connects. Let's build Bourne's character. Let's stay close to Bourne. Always hear of Marie's idyll. How life, I suppose, could have been if they were not always on the run. Comes the book. A window into Bourne's mind. I think. This film, Chris Rouse, Rick Pearson. Yet you would never know. Such was the synchronicity of their styles. They cut this film with an intensity and an originality that has a lot to do with its qualities, I think. Small pieces and capture an unusual rhythm and yet land on the point, as they have here. Classic Bourne world. Present tense. Out of nowhere danger comes. Matt here. It all looks pretty easy to perform this stuff, but actually it's acting of a very high quality. To attention without where just looks and gestures have got to carry it.
Good morning, sir.
More in the eyes. This the chat make it fresh. It's I think it's the first moment in the film where if I had been watching, I'd be going, yes, this is what I expected to see when I came to see the sequel to The Bourne Identity. And it lifts you and react. Because of the textures, the look of it, it's just exotic without being forced. It just is a different palette of that world too. It's the ordinariness of it.
This is real.
Scene sets the template of the style of this film, which, you know, arises out of Doug's style for the first movie, but I suppose it's a little more fluid, perhaps, a little more immediate. I want it to be with Bourne, all closer to him as a character, closer to him in action. When he runs, we run. When he escapes in the Jeep, we're in the Jeep with him. I wanted to feel that they had had the experience of life with Bourne and that it should feel real. Switch seats, you know, we wanted them to switch seats because Bourne's got to take on Kirill, but to stop the car and run round would have been deeply inelegant, and them to literally to change seats as the car was moving. I wanted us to feel like we were there. I think to work in underground tanks, I mean, those actors were literally inside a Jeep in 12 feet of water, slightly more. I mean, you are literally immersed with nothing to breathe in a tank. To do is hold your breath and try and act. It's acting of a very high quality here because it's full of detail. You look at this scene here and you see what both of them are doing here. Mobility on Franco Potenta's face. Hard when you're fighting rising panic, I think. Divers are there off camera to come and dive in if you get in trouble. Matt's face when we come round the other way here. From panic, the struggle to escape, the death throes, The three kisses, the first two being an attempt to resuscitate, the third one being a kiss of farewell. And all good acting is about detail. It's about fighting generality. Of Carl. Significant moment, I suppose, in the sense of our story, Tony Gilroy's story. He wanted Marie to die, and he was quite right. Because in a way, it's a brave decision, because the Bourne relationship in the first film was really the heart of the first film's success. It was a relationship that everybody bought into. It, you know, when they met together at the end of the film in the cafe in Greece, you know, you wanted them to survive. You wanted them to go on their journey, and to kill her off so early was a bold and radical thing to do. And I think in many ways, although the film takes a hit for it in the sense that you go, oh, well, we're not going to go on an adventure with the two of them again. Of course, what it does do is unlock all sorts of possibilities for a darker story for Bourne, and a new, fresh story for Bourne. A Bourne who would now have to be alone. In many ways, the Bourne supremacy in terms of being a fresh chapter begins at the moment that Marie dies. Important that, because later in our story we're going to return in different circumstances, pick up the interweaving of our elements of story from Moscow to Goa to Berlin. A moment to Marie. And of course, one of the things Matt and I talked about was that Bourne perhaps had a military background, and there was always the possibility of a salute at this point.
Alright, and we're going to continue for that. Okay, this is a continued. To be continued.